There's enough food produced to feed the world, yet over 800 million people are still undernourished. Academics say this is due to uneven distribution and are calling for a reform of the global food system. While the current production methods also account for almost 30% of greenhouse gas emissions. So let's find out if there is even capacity to change from Professor Anna Lartey, Professor of Nutrition at the University of Ghana, joining me this morning to take this conversation forward. And Prof, a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for your time and good morning to you. Let's talk about what is wrong with our food systems, not only in the country of South Africa or Ghana or the continent of Africa, but around the world.
Yes, thank you very much for this opportunity to talk about a very crucial issue that is facing all of us. There are challenges in our food systems. Our food systems are not delivering healthy diets. They are not feeding us the way we should be fed to ensure that malnutrition will disappear. Our food systems, as was mentioned, it's also not helping even the planet. It's not producing the healthy food that we want also. For example, there are about 3 billion people cannot afford a healthy diet. Not only that, you can see that the number of malnourished, the number of undernourished people who go to bed hungry, keeps increasing. And when COVID happened, we saw the deficiencies. They were literally amplified, showing that our food systems are not resilient. Let me just give you one example. The number of people who went to bed hungry, it's increased substantially in 1 year as a result of COVID. Basically saying that there's something wrong. It is not resilient, it is not helping us, and we need to do something about it. And it is for this reason you would have known that the UN Secretary General called for a reform of the food systems at the Food Systems Summit held in September 2021. And here they said we need to look at game changers that will improve our food systems, to make sure that our food systems are equitable, they are resilient, and they deliver the foods that we want them to deliver. Now, let's not forget that the food systems we have created it, and it's delivering what we have created it to do. So it is time for us to reform. Now, how do we reform our food systems to make it what we want it to do? Let me take, first of all, delivering healthy diets. We want it to deliver healthy diets. A very important aspect of a healthy diet are the diversity, fruits, vegetables that we want people to consume more of. And yet, if you look at many countries' policies, agricultural policies are so skewed towards the production of staple crops, cereals. And yet we want people to have a healthy diet. Yeah. I think countries need to look at their agricultural policies and make sure that they give incentive for the production of the crops that we want people to eat more of, fruits and vegetables.
Absolutely.
More of that. We also need to look at women and also the youth. Women, a lot of sub-Saharan African countries, it's the women who produce the nutritious crops, and also the small-scale farmers. They need to be given support to produce these nutritious crops for us. These nutritious crops are also perishable.
Right.
But very often they produce it, they are not linked to markets, and also they don't have storage facilities or facilities to process them. So if you look at the food basket, what really increases the price of the food basket are these nutritious crops we want people to eat more of, but they are very expensive.
If I may just come in there, Prof, because we literally have less than 2 minutes with you. And I had a couple of questions that I also wanted to ask you here. So it seems like the entire value chain is flawed, from production to the environment, as well as the consumption stage of food. How much of an impact does advertising also contribute to the unhealthy diet that most of us have succumbed to? What we see on our television screens, in the media, in terms of food, how much of that is also a contributing factor?
Substantially, because you and I as consumers pick our foods from our environment. If your food environment is filled with junk food, most likely those are the foods you are going to be picking up on. And advertising significantly influences people. You know, you see it and they don't give you the right information, and you think that these foods are what you should be eating. Sugar sweetened beverages, high fat, high salt, high sugar laden foods. These are not nutritious, but these are the advertisements we see around us. Nutrient dense, energy dense foods. These are the things we see, and they influence us. And I think what is even worrying is that children end up choosing those foods, you know, and you are building, these children are growing, and yet you are giving them the wrong foods. The impact, not only on themselves, it impacts them, it impacts the entire community and the entire country.
Right.
A country where children do not grow very well and children are malnourished ultimately will influence the economic development of that country. So we should not take the food environment and the advertising that takes place, especially towards children, we should not take it lightly.
And just one last question to you, Prof, then. What would it take to see a complete transformation in the food systems? Because I understand that if we only implement change at the consumption stage, that is too late. There is a lot more that can be done earlier.
That's right. There's a lot more that can be done right at the production stage. Countries to say we want people to change our agricultural policies and also incorporate their healthy diets. Also look at our food environment. How can you tax, you know, these junk foods so that people do not consume more of that? Thirdly, we need to work on ourselves as consumers. Empower consumers with the right information, good labeling information that they can understand so that they can pick the right foods. You see, the consumer can make the right food choices if you provide the consumer with information. And that is where often they are denied. They are provided with the wrong information through advertising. And we think we should look at our labeling laws. You, South Africa, you have the sugar tax. Fantastic. I mean, there's more. I think many countries are looking at you to be able to also change your food environment. And what you're doing is in the right direction. And I hope that you can help with the rest of Africa also change our food environment so that our citizens all over the continent can eat healthy diets.
Well, Prof, I appreciate you speaking to us about this very important topic on food systems. Professor Anna Lartey joining us, of course, the Professor of Nutrition at the University of Ghana. A lot can be done, not only at the consumption stage, production, you know, the environmental stage, as well as the consumption stage, children being affected, young people, women as well. All of these contributing factors, of course, leading to an unhealthy diet can, of course, lead to disease and even death. So we have to continue this conversation around a healthy diet. All right.